the first thing I gotta ask you is, can you make my voice sound like a robot, or do I need to do that by myself?
Why don't you like add a hint of robot, and then I'll see if I can make it even more robotic.
All right. This is gonna be a little spoiler, guys, for the episode, but
Snoop and Andy? I'm sorry, but your parents are dead. I'm your daddy now.
That's it.
It's both shocking and exciting news. I've always wanted a daddy. And I also found out that Andy and I have the same parents. I think that's what you meant, right? We have the same parents, and or all of our parents are dead?
All of your parents are dead.
Oh,
I'm
this
your daddy.
is so sad.
I'm your daddy now.
Oh, man.
If you can make that part a robot too.
I'm just going to leave that part as is.
All right.
And I'm going to end the episode with just that clip. Really bookend it. All right. But until I do that, let's just get on with the show. Welcome, everyone, to the show, the Comixology Club. It's a show where I, Snoop Lynch, and my co-host, Higgins Sturm.
Hey, that's me.
He's right over there. And sitting in between us this month, we have our special guest, Andy Newman.
Oh yeah, we already told him. The listeners have been calling in,
Begging.
They've been screaming from the streets. They really need to leave now because his car's here, folks. Get out of here.
He's
on the episode.
To do. Andy, how are you?
Oh my God, my face is so red right now from that. But
and they can hear that.
I'm good, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for talking about the book we're going to talk about. And before we do that, thank you for listening to us talk about the sponsor of this show, 008 Studios.
Oh yeah, that's our buddy and guest boss, Michael Lopez.
Absolutely. That's right. People know Michael if they've listened to the show for a while. Andy knows Michael personally.
He's given him a hug before. I've seen it.
Oh my God. And it lasted for a very long time.
Many hugs.
Many hugs, both sober and not sober. So, but all very important and all heartfelt. So Andy, as you know, Michael has a business called 008 Studios. It's a business where if you, Andy, or someone you know, like Andy's mom. Oh wait, no, that's right. She's dead. Well, she wasn't dead, and if our mom wasn't dead, and she wanted to write a book.
Oh, the joke. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like breaking news. Okay.
I do have some emails I need to tell you about later. But before that, so you go to Michael. You go to his business. I'll leave a link for it in this podcast description. Make it easy on you. And you go, hey, Michael, you do things, and I do things, but I don't know how to get funding for my things, like my book, my passion project of whatever it is. He's the guy you talk to. Maybe you hit it off. Maybe you meet up and you decide we're going to collab on this together.
He's helped multiple people write a book. I even started reading one of them recently. I'm like 7 to 8 chapters into The Bounty by Holly Bargo.
Ooh.
So it's a lovely cowboy story so far.
Excellent.
With some Christian undertones, if you like that sort of thing.
Michael's son Christian.
Yeah, he's in the book.
Yeah, they gave him a gun.
And he rides a small horse.
Yeah, I mean, he's a small kid.
Yeah.
So. But he has a big gun?
Yeah, biggest gun in the West, actually, is what they say in the book.
That's exciting.
It's weird that Michael put that in there, because he helped her write that, right?
Yeah, he co-authored it, yeah. So he's worked on that. There's another book that you've read, and you know that person, Z.B. Still, he wrote For a Few Days More.
Oh, yeah.
He's given a little...
also a good book.
Also a good book. And many books as well that you can buy on that site. He's working on other projects right now. Towards the end of the year, we talked about it before, he's got his first comic coming out under the 008 Studios banner, the Icarus Initiative. I think that specifically is going to be the Icarus Academy. Again, if it's wrong, Michael will tell me, and then I'll apologize on another episode.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, so if you want to work on a project with Michael, he's done with submissions for the year, but there's always next year and the year after that. So yeah, just hit him up if you're interested, or just buy some of his stuff, buy some of those books, read The Bounty, see how big that gun is, and see how little Christian is, and let us know what you think. But for now, let's get into today's topic, the book that Andy helped us pick, Sentient by Jeff Lemire.
Oh, yeah. Our boy, Jeff Lemire. Oh, we like him.
And we're talking about him with our boy, Andy Newman.
Yeah.
Just a boys episode.
Just boys being boys. So yes, this is written by Jeff Lemire, art by a guy, Gabriel Walta, I believe. You guys both have physical copies of books. Is that what it says on that book?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have it on my iPad too.
Oh, you got double
I'm
book.
a big baller.
Excellent. So yes, Gabriel Walta did the art. I believe also the colors. There's no colors listed on this as far as I can tell. One interesting thing about this book is it's published by a company called TKO.
KO Studios.
Yes. I haven't heard of these people before, which is, I mean, Andy, is a shock to you.
No, I haven't heard of it either. Not that I'm like an avid comic graphic novel reader, but it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's not like your big three, your Image, your Marvel, or your DC.
Yeah.
I looked a little bit into them, and basically this was started back in 2017 by a guy named Z Chun. He is a director, a writer. He works in in Hollywood, just doing all that sort of stuff. And the idea was to start a comic publishing company that will make stories that are specifically made to then be adapted into things, which is kind of just the norm these days. But they worked on a few different books. You can look at everything on their site. It looks like some pretty interesting stuff, very akin to an Image, kind of creator-owned, creator-driven. But then they got Jeff Lemire in to write this in, I believe, 2020. Another thing that these people do that I found interesting is all of their stories are written first and then released all at once, kind of like a Netflix style.
Just straight to the trade paperback.
Exactly. Yes.
Just the one thing I want to buy every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's actually kind of a good approach for people who maybe don't read a lot of comics or just like don't want to commit to something that's, continuously ongoing and may never end. Is what you see is what you get. So this book we're talking about today, it came out in 2020, 6 issues, in and out, we're done.
I've never been a single issue boy because I don't like to keep them like crisp, and I also like to see the name of the book on the spine, which you don't get with a comic book.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Putting single issues on a shelf is just nothing appealing about it, honestly. Yeah.
You got to put them in a box.
Yeah, that's right. You got to flip through it like an old filing cabinet.
Yeah, like I know that I requested a single issue story for this just because I wanted a story and not to be like on this journey that I didn't know that I would go on. But when I got to the end of it, I was like, I really like this. I kind of wish it was longer. And so I do understand kind of the long form of comics now, I think, a little better.
The biggest problem with issues and like how many they get, and a lot of factors seem to go into it. Like with Marvel and DC, it's more of how's your book selling? Because if your book is selling great, they'll let you write it forever until either it doesn't sell as well or you decide you want to leave, and then they'll just get someone to pick up the pieces.
Just look at what's the Superman one? Adventure Comics?
Yes, that's
like
Batman's
1,000
Detective.
plus?
Yep, yeah. And that's overwhelming for a lot of people, or like you lose your creators that you like, so then you jump off of it because it's not quite the same. Or then you have another issue where it's like, well, we can only get funding for like 3 or 4. And I don't think that's what happened here. I think it was just they had this story they wanted to tell, and they wanted to only do it in 6 issues. But I'm with Andy. I wish this was longer.
Yeah, I think Jeff Lemire had one in the tank, and they told him to like just bust it out, get it out there. Your name's big. People are gonna buy this thing. But they even like the story they told in the 6 issues, I think could have been spread over like 12. So I would have loved to see the kids learn how to like pilot the ship or something, like a little more detail.
Yes.
There's just like time jumps where it's like, oh, well, now like this kid knows how to like freaking weld and something like that. His like 11-year-old kid knows how to weld now. It only took 20 days, but you didn't even see it.
Yeah, or it just skipped 6 months, but it didn't really tell you that. So you're kind of,
things happen very quickly in this book.
They do. It's almost like it almost feels like there's the first act and the first 3 issues, and then the last 3 are the third act, but where's the second act? It's like, am I missing something? This idea actually came from that Z Chun guy I mentioned. He apparently was just talking with Jeff Lemire about working together, working on a book for TKO. And according to Jeff Lemire, I have an interview here. It's really the only information I could find on it. But he said he was talking to Z Chun, and he had this basic log line that says, all the adults on a spaceship die, and the ship's AI has to raise the children left behind. That's
big fan.
That's all he had. And then Jeff Lemire did what Jeff Lemire does and just kind of made that his thing.
He wrote a story where the pictures do most of the talking.
Mm.
And then when the words came in, you're like, man, those are some really good words, guy.
Well, that's like, as a second time graphic novel reader, that was one of the things I kind of had to force myself to do.
Look at the pictures.
The dialogue is a little sparse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really had to make myself like take in the image to like really get more of the story, because the words are not, I mean, they're not a lot, so it's kind of like just enough to get you through the scene.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of left to just like scan.
Just wait till you
the
read
images.
Underwater Welder. I think there's 100 words in that whole book.
Oh
probably.
my gosh.
And it's longer than this.
Yeah.
I could use a little more words if I'm being honest, but it was fine.
I'm glad that we went through a few different books before we finally settled on this one. I think Jeff Lemire is such an easy recommendation to people because to have a story like this, it's 6 issues, it's in and out. You have to do a lot and very little. He doesn't weigh himself down with dialogue, but everything hits. It's kind of his whole deal. Every story I've ever read by him, and he's probably my favorite comic book writer, the environments, the plot, everything's happening. It's on this grand scale, but he always keeps it grounded in personal stories about just people living, trying to make it. If you like this, but you wanted something a little bit more, I would highly recommend. He has a run on a comic called Descender. It's like 30 issues, so a good bit more, but still space. It's like a big epic space opera about everyone hates AI for a reason, and there's one that everyone's trying to hunt down.
There's one guy in here who really hates AI.
Yeah, he's good at this kind of sci-fi, especially. He's probably one of my favorite comic book creators. I think that this gives you a tease of what he could really do in Descender. So yeah, I would recommend that one.
Well, I feel like one of the hard things with sci-fi is just to come up with an original idea.
Okay.
Because most things now are just a retread or a slight deviation in things that have been done. But I thought there were like some really novel ideas in here, like just the idea of a ship AI raising children.
Yeah.
And maybe it's out there somewhere, but I have never come across it before.
Normally, like people try to make the AI the bad guy, which he also didn't. He also did in here, but like
never seen nurturing AI except for like maybe now that I think about it, like Smart House.
Oh yeah, and even then, like you got a little bit of a bad time.
Yeah,
and that was kind of his approach to it as well. Again, in the same interview, I was just reading different. What was your inspiration? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And he mentions the reason he
mentions the Disney Channel original movie Smart House.
Surprisingly, a lot.
Jump, the house is bumping.
Yeah.
Bump, bump.
And when he was done talking about how much he loves that movie and how he wishes they'd make a Smart House too, still smartin', he said that the reason he wanted to do this idea with the AI is because you don't see that. You see plenty of stories where, the AI went evil. And that is kind of what, even in our current culture, because AI is bigger and better than ever, everyone's talking about how it's going to ruin everything. But no one ever talks about like, what good can it do?
They still can't figure out that I wear glasses though, so I mean, I think we're all right.
We've got at least another decade.
On your Snapchat
every
filters.
single Snapchat AI filter I've used like gives me like lumpy eyeballs because I'm wearing glasses in the picture before it switches over.
You expect this to raise children?
It does a pretty good job of it, I think. I also love how, and I don't know if this was intentional, but even the name of the AI is
Val?
kind of so it's Valerie, but they call it Val. I instantly thought of 2001 because that's Hal is the AI that
I just
turns
watched
rogue.
that recently.
Yeah.
Good flick.
I didn't make that connection.
I don't know if that's why he did it, but I'm like, that seems like it's on purpose to show like, actually this one's okay. And I even love how this was not supposed to happen because essentially the idea of the story for anyone who hasn't read it is they're having an interstellar situation. Earth's going to crap and they need to move people from one end to a different end of space.
Yeah, they thought they had 20 years and now Earth's about to explode in like 10 or something. I don't know.
It's probably TikTok's fault or
The battery
corn,
news.
whatever's going on. So they decide, okay, we're going to put these people on a ship. We're going to send them over to the Earth colony. But before they get there, there's going to be this stretch of space where no communication gets in or out. So when that happens, there's been talk of separatist groups who are against this. That turns out to be one of the moms on the ship. She kills all the adults, then gets killed by the AI trying to protect the kids, basically. And then it's just the kids.
That blew my mind that, like, I didn't expect that to be what she did to, like, I, like, had the vaguest idea of, like, I knew the kids were going to be by themselves. I didn't know that it was going to be, like, someone on the ship killed them.
Yeah, and then she gets killed, so there's just them and the robot.
And then, like, also, she's, like, crew cut mom, hard ass mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's the one that, like, decided that we needed to, like, start these kids anew. Brand new mission kids.
She joined the terrorist group, basically.
Yeah, weird. It's weird that like that was the character they chose for that. Because I thought when it was like, what's his Garcia something or other, the guy that was like, they're in like a mission briefing or something like that. He was there for like 2 pages.
There's a red herring guy who's like, it's
like,
probably this guy, but ends up being her. Yeah. Andy, what were you about to say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, this is one of the areas where I wish we had a little more exposition because it's like, yeah, they're called separatists. They're clearly like outliers, but at the same time, we don't really know what's going on Earth. Like, clearly things are not good.
Yeah.
And so if things are in such bad shape, then maybe the people running it weren't doing such a good job.
They called it EarthGov.
Yeah, so I would kind of like a little more info on the separatists. Like, are they actually bad guys?
Yeah, and they give you, because they have the setup with the mom being a part of it, and then she gets killed. But then you see another group of separatists show up with their own rogue AI, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing this for you kids, because you don't want to go to that colony. It's gonna fuck you up." And it almost plays into that idea of kind of what Andy's saying of like, maybe they are the good guys, but at the same time, you don't get anything else to kind of make that assumption or like kind of support that idea. They say they're good, but also like
they try to do a lot of murder.
Well, that was the thing, is like, up until a point you're like, okay, they're adults, there's a ship full of kids. Like, of course adults would try to get on the ship with the kids because they need adulting. And
yes.
And then it's like, one guy says we are the good guys and all this and that. And then they really lost me when they're like, kill the kids if you have to.
Oh,
and that's like, well, okay, that's just unequivocally evil.
That was the evil AI though that said that.
But it seems like that only happened because we were on issue 5 and there's only 6 and we need to wrap this up. But at the same time, it didn't seem like Jeff Lemire was limited to 6. Again, like this whole publisher, their idea is let's just get it all out at once, give it to people to binge. But it didn't mention anything of like they only do 6 issues. I feel like with 12, just 6 more issues, you could really flesh this world out in a way that would just make it even better. I think the core ideas of everything going on here is so strong, but you don't have enough time to really build with it. Even moments of having like, and there's a little bit of it in this as it is, but I feel like it would have been really nice to have 12 issues. Maybe you have an issue or 2 in the middle where it's just smaller, more mundane of this robot learning to be a mother to these children. Like maybe one's having a bad day, like because one of the kids made fun of it, and it's like, oh, I gotta go talk to this kid, but I don't really know how to talk to this kid because I'm a calculator. Like, but I don't know, just you get that development, but you don't have enough time.
Get like Lil, which is like the main younger kid, or the main kid. She's like the leader of the group.
I would argue like, Isaac is kind of the main character.
Well, Isaac and Lil are both like, I think. What, Lil like narrates the first like couple and then Isaac narrates the rest, or maybe Isaac narrated the whole thing. I'm not quite sure, but
it seems like it could have gone one way or the other, but yes.
I know he was definitely like the last 4 issues, but you get like the fights between like Lil and Valerie, and like you maybe saw like a couple pages in the first bit of the book where she's like, but I want to watch the TV show. And then like all of a sudden like Val's like, we've had this conversation so many times, Lil. You never listen to me. And you're like, I haven't seen any of that, guys.
Yeah, it is a lot
like,
more
Lil
tell, don't show.
Lil's mom just died horrifically.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she deserves to fight back a little bit, Valerie.
I do like having those moments in there where it's just this robot and this child are having a mom-daughter fight. And this is essentially like the robot's first day on the job or first week on the job. It's just like,
go to your room.
Yeah. And I just, because the only reason this is able kind of like, the only reason this AI becomes sentient is because it's kind of just when shit hit the fan, they had to shut down the protocols that kept her from learning more than they wanted her to.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was kind of a cool setup for that. And then with the adults being gone and not being able to put that protocol back in place, she's just kind of left to her own devices. And yeah, she's just trying to do what her last kind of directive was, which is take care of these children. And I like having those little moments of she's teaching them how to use the ship because they have to learn or else she's not going to be able to get them safely there by herself. And also, but it's also done in a way where it's like, I'm teaching you this for when I'm gone. And that's a very, like, that's a parent thing to do. It's like, I'm not always going to be here. I need to make sure that you know what you're doing when that happens. And I think that's just a really kind of emotional moment that hits really well for me.
Yeah. Not exactly the same topic, but did you read the robot voices and robot voices?
Dude,
when
I
you
was
read
just
it?
gonna ask, like, was there like a pop culture robot voice that came to you when you were reading?
I
Or
mean,
just like
how
a well-known, like recognizable.
for sure for Victor, I went with like a Hal voice,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm thinking like there was. I'm trying to think like cartoon. Did the Jetsons have like a lady robot?
They had a robot maid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's where my mind went with for Valerie. But I also think that I was just like, maybe this AI is so jacked up that she sounds mostly human.
Well, she did develop an emotional stutter.
Yes.
I don't know if you picked up on that.
Like,
I'm
I
why are we stuttering? Like after, like what happened to your programming?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden you're like having to convey this emotional, like, I don't know, Lil.
Yeah.
I'm just a first time mom.
Yeah.
I've never done this before.
I enjoy that for two reasons. One, it shows the progression of that character, and I think that's kind of impressive they were able to do that, and you pick up on it so naturally of when you see this robot, it doesn't have a physical kind of human-like body. It's just screens and weird Mars rover type things.
she blew though.
She blew though.
She blew though.
She blew as hell.
Blew as hell.
When you see her at the beginning talking with the adults, it's very just kind of, I'm a computer. I'm just giving you the answer as short and concise as possible.
She's not stuttering then.
No, and it's like, you don't have to do this now. Like, you're a computer. You don't necessarily feel emotion, but you are trying to be a mother to these children, and also you don't know what you're doing because you've never been in this situation. And I think that's just a fun kind of thing to add to this character that is just a screen when you're looking at it on the page. And going back to the voice, I feel like as I was reading it, it kind of changed for me based on whatever she was talking about, or if she was flustered. When she was kind of anytime she was sassy, I was thinking of what's the name of the computer from SpongeBob that's married to Plankton with the real
I think
shrill
he just
nagging
calls her
voice?
computer wife.
Yeah. I thought of that a lot of times, just because, again, similar idea, just a screen that can move around sometimes. So yeah, really good stuff. I also like the kids in this they're not annoying in a sense of, yeah, they're annoying kids that won't listen to me, but I enjoyed every single one that they showed.
Well, outside of like maybe like one specific action, no kid does anything just especially stupid in this.
I would agree. Yes. I'm assuming you're talking about when Lil goes off chops and goes to that ship.
Yeah. It's like, I'm an adult. I'm the oldest kid.
Yes.
I mean, that seemed like a normal thing to do, though. I was like, why? Come on. Check it out.
That's
Check
very
it
just
out, my man.
Kid behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense because of like the traumatic experience she's had seeing her mom and everyone else get killed. And now she's the crew leader essentially just by having a birthday that day.
She didn't even see her mom get killed. Isaac saw his mom get stabbed to the heart. So
That's another thing I really love about this, where that kid should have just gone down the path of he's going to be a murderer, but he doesn't. And I
he's
really
such a good
appreciate
dude.
that.
And he's like, I'm trying to get some of that tang later on in life. He's like, I could be a bad guy, but like, have you guys seen Lil? She said I was the smartest one.
Just to zag a little bit. I thought Isaac was very emotionally mature in this.
Yeah.
When he's just like very self-aware that, you know, she's important because the kids listen to her. They don't really trust me because of what my mom did.
Yeah.
Andy, are you straying away from the fact that I was talking about Tang?
I was trying to do like a hard pivot from that.
I think it was more the fact that you were talking about a horny 12-year-old.
Yeah, it was a
thinking
horny
about Tang.
He was a horny 12-year-old
Yeah.
thinking about
I
Tang.
did think one of the highlights in the book is there's like one just full page where Isaac does a thing and he looks like into the reader's eyes. He's like, I'm the smartest one.
Yeah.
Like when he like
I mean, she
when,
touched
he like defeats the evil AI.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the smartest one.
like right after
Check it.
Lil touches his hand. Like she touches his hand and says, "You're the smartest one. You can figure it
that
out."
does not happen.
And he's like, "You're right. I am
You're
the smartest."
putting a lot of undertones in this that was not
no,
there.
no, like because he's like sitting at the
In his defense,
thing.
we've read a
and
lot
he's
of horny
like-
comics recently.
And he's like, I don't know if I can do it. And she, like, you just there's one panel that's like hand over hand, and she's like, "You're the smartest one. You can do it."
So
It
that's
was very sweet, but not when I say Tang in the middle of there.
It takes a bit away from the sweetness, yeah. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Tang's a bit bitter. I agree with Andy. I'm not saying I disagree with you in what you're saying, but I definitely agree with Andy where I think this kid's great.
Oh yeah, Isaac's arguably the better character than Lil.
And I think that if given enough time with Lil, she would have been a just as great character.
Oh yeah.
And she's not bad by the end of it by any means, because she learns to forgive Isaac and they become really good friends when they land on the Earth colony and they rebuild that computer. And it's super nice. But yeah, Isaac just, again, seeing the path that he so obviously could have gone down, and you wouldn't have even blamed him if he did, because he saw his mom get killed right in front of him by his new computer mom, and everyone hates him for no reason. And just that little snippet, I love, Higgins and I talk about page layouts a lot and kind of how creative and fun you can be with them in comics compared to really any other medium. Having those side-by-sides at the very beginning of Lil and her mom starting their day and then Isaac and his mom starting their day, it's essentially the exact same, except for his mom won't speak to him at all and is just super strict. Like, this kid should have been an absolute lunatic, but he's the best kid on the ship. So
it's also hard to know if that's how she always is, or if she just had the mindset of I'm
about to murder everybody.
Do that today.
It's true. Yeah, it could have been the day.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And then I also like that there is that moment of, well, she still clearly loves her son, because the only reason she was in the place she was when she got killed was because she was trying to get him to come with her.
Well, and she still had the mindset of I am going to be the one to take care of these kids. And I don't think someone that cold would maybe necessarily have that outlook on it.
I agree. That's fair.
Maybe she would. I don't know.
Maybe she had a crisp drink in her hand.
Ooh, what kind of drink would you say?
She would be a little bit chiller about the whole situation.
Ooh. As chill as a Moscow Mule that you might be drinking right now?
A beacon mule is what it's actually called.
Oh.
I was slandered today in the group chat about how this connected to the comic.
Not slandered, we were just curious.
It was just a question. if you folded under the simple question of what does this have to do with the book?
It was very loosely related. I tried to see if Jeff Lemire had a favorite cocktail. It's never worked. Not one time have I Googled the author's name and favorite cocktail. Has it given me a thing that's this is this person's favorite cocktail?
Should hit him up on Twitter.
I just want them to.
If you could just do that solid for me, please, in between you writing all these books.
Yeah, just tell me what you like to drink and I'll make it for us. But no, I ended up just typing in Sentient cocktail and this one came up.
Okay.
And I was like, God dang, I can put some bourbon in a Moscow Mule and then we can call it a day. Easy peasy. I'll drink that later.
This is Sentient because it really speaks to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Has a mind of its own, you'd say?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is it telling you?
Yeah. Drink me.
Drink me more, please.
Yeah, because
just put me in you.
What do you?
I was gonna make a second dose too.
Okay.
It is one of the ones. It's the best one we've had in 5 to 10 episodes. So.
I was worried this was gonna be one of those classic drinks that just gives me heartburn, and it will. But I'm enjoying it.
Just a little bit of lime.
Yeah, it doesn't take a
lot.
lime
and a little bit of ginger.
Andy, you're no stranger to really a mule or any kind of alcoholic bevy. But where does this sit with you? You like a bourbon? I seen you drink it.
I do.
You like this mix?
This is good. This is a good mix.
Yeah.
If we're having another,
you would also.
I'll have another.
Wow.
Yeah.
We picked a fan favorite bullet bourbon for this. It's I'll do the breakdown. I know I started out early days not telling you guys the mixture, but then I was like, some people don't like to read, so I'm just gonna throw it down at you real fast and loose. That being said, I don't.
As loose as a 12-year-old on a spaceship by himself with a girl he likes.
Yeah, exactly.
Bringing it back, Andy.
It's a little bit of 2 ounces of your choice of bourbon and or whiskey. That's just up to you guys. You do what you want.
I say
pick
bourbon.
bullet bourbon.
Yeah,
it always works.
A good choice. Yeah.
Then you're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of some lime juice, and then shake that up. Get it nice and cold. Pour it in your glass. Then top it off with your favorite amount of ginger beer. I think we normally pick Bostwick's is what I got over there.
Looks like you got a Gosling's, a Ryan Gosling's.
Gosling's, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Bostwick's, not Gosling's. No, other way around. Gosling's, not Bostwick's.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, top it off. It says 4 to 6 ounces, so just a taste.
I like to settle somewhere in the middle. Maybe
put
get
in
a
a copper
5.
glass if you got it.
A copper glass.
That's what we did.
Yeah, that's good.
Steve bought copper glasses a while ago, and I like using them for mules.
It's the most natural thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's good. It's not as bitter as I was thinking it was going to be, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
That's my only thing about ginger beer is, again, sensitive guy, sensitive tongue, heartburn hits easy. But this is not a Bloody Mary situation like we had that one episode.
I would not. No Bloody Mary.
It was so spicy. So spicy. That was like episode 5 though, so
And I'm still burping from
we
that
didn't
alcohol.
even know. But I'm gonna hop into the kitchen. We're gonna take a small break. Snoop's gonna put in a little thing that goes like do 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 do.
That's great.
Can you just repeat that over and over again?
How many repeats you want?
Like 3.
3 repeats. That's 4 times total. That might be a bit excessive. Can I cut it down in half? Do one repeat?
Well, 2.
Wow.
Do a 3 total.
With like some robotic overtone to it also.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll end on
Maybe do that.
I'll end on
Put that on a loop.
I'll do his bit and then I'll end on your bit and then we'll come back in.
You left that all in, right? Because Andy was saying some good stuff in there while I was making new drink.
Because he was saying great stuff.
That's-
Some stuff I
that's
would
probably
like
too
to
far away.
Yeah, some
No.
stuff I would like to bring back up though and talk about a little bit. Again, we're just talking about what this could be, and I hate to do that. I hate to focus on what it's not. But also, what we were kind of talking about is there are little just snippets in this that you just want to see more of. So, kind of the I guess three big acts of the story is parents get killed, kids are hanging out with a robot. Eventually, they come across a ship. One of the kids goes into the ship, and then they find another guy who's just there, and he's not happy about it. He's kind of insane.
Bodies on the floor.
Bodies on the floor. That also goes more into like he thinks that those kids are separatists as well.
Yeah, he's actually like technically, all things considered, like a good guy. He's just gotten driven crazy by like
Whoa.
the fact that he got taken over.
When you say a good guy, I think like an Earth loyalist is what
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And that seems to be the idea I think he's going for here is maybe none of the adults are good. The kids are just, unfortunately in a circumstance where they need adults, but also all these adults seem to be unstable in one way or another because he tries to kill those kids. And that's where we find out that there's another AI he mentions. And then that leads into the third act, which is the group of separatists and their evil AI named, is it Victor?
Yeah, his name's
Victor.
Victor,
Yeah.
which
Victor,
he's not. He's not the Victor.
He's not the Victor.
No, he's purple. He purpled
I
He
wonder
is
if all the
purple, though.
AI are V, or maybe they're more just like Victor, Valor. Maybe there's like a
Ooh.
courage one.
Might be
I
a
don't
theme.
know.
Wow,
I
we don't know.
Andy Valor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the
Valor.
girl version.
Yeah.
Victor's okay. He's kind of just, it's just your typical evil AI. So
He's
I don't
Hal.
think he,
Yeah.
yeah, he's Hal. It's not bad, but at the same time, kind of what Andy's been talking about is seeing an AI that's good and wants to help out is more interesting, I think, just because you have seen so many stories about them going bad. The glimpses of what Earth is and kind of how it's functioning and this transition of getting them off into the, into space, into a colony, it's very slapdash. Like, these ships are impressive, but also, like, it doesn't seem like a lot's holding it together.
Well, a lot of the art we see, and this is what I was sort of thinking about when I was looking at it, is, it's not like the nice, clean, crisp, like Jetsons style sci-fi. It seems a little more industrial. Like, this does seem like this was built on an Earth that is kind of like struggling and like
Figuring
rushing
it out,
to
yeah.
like, let's get ships in the air now because, I think early in the book it says, I think their window was like 20 years and then
It's less.
2 sentences
yeah.
later, they're like, actually, it's 10 years is what we have to get people
Yeah.
off of Earth.
Yes, yeah, and it's very we were talking about it earlier, so it's on my mind, but it's very Alien-esque, that first movie. Like, just again, like, bare bones, you were sent here by a group of, a corporation, a government that doesn't really care about you, but they need you to go here, and there's protocols and follow this and that, and I think that's kind of what leads into the separatist group forming, is people are sick of it and they don't trust these people. So, and I like having the perspective of our point of view characters are the kids, and their whole thing is we're supposed to trust adults, but then they find out through this whole experience, like, maybe we shouldn't trust any adults at all. But
yeah,
it's
and
not.
Lil for sure doesn't trust adults by the end of it.
Yeah,
She shot that lady in the face so fast.
I do like that. Even though this book is very dour and like kind of makes you go, maybe my mom wasn't great, and maybe this government's not what it's cracked up to be. I do like that moment of hope that it does end on. I think that's kind of necessary for this when you have a story about kids who have been through like a terrible time, but also it didn't ruin them. But we haven't talked a lot about the art.
That's what I was gonna say. In my mind, I was thinking that same thing.
Would you
My
like to say it
mind
out
castle.
loud?
I was just gonna say I was gonna ask Andy how he felt about the art
Oh.
because I know he's a big word book reader,
Mm.
I know there was like, oh my
and I
god,
was like, how does he feel about this artwork?
there's like 5 pictures on this page. That's like 5,000 words. There's so much to take in.
You were very overwhelmed.
But just before we get like too far off the topic of kind of like the ship and the aesthetics of that, I do think art-wise there was a bit of a tonal shift. Because it's only like 2 pages in the beginning, but there is sort of like, it's like a nice kind of like warm light. Things are kind of like nice and bright and sort of like not as dingy as we get to later. I mean, there's like a toy chest in a scene. And then as soon as like all the adults are killed and things turn really quickly, then I think we do slip very much into like the dark tones and like the really, really grittiness of it. And then also like by the end of the book, when they like get back to that planet and they're kind of like trying to like piece Val back together again.
Yes.
I think we kind of return to like some pink skies, and it's a little like more comforting than
Yeah,
like an alien
Yeah.
esque ship.
It's a noticeable difference when Lil and Isaac go onto the abandoned ship. Like this is the worst this could look. Because it is the same ship. But even when they're on their ship and they're figuring out like, this is how you pilot, this is how you run the control room. I love that imagery of just throwing a bunch of kids into rooms and situations that they should not be in, but they have to be in. It's just very striking to me. And there is still that little bit of hope in it because it's Val being a mom. She's, again, raising them to grow up and make it on their own. But yeah, it's just such a weird contrast to see that because it's like these kids should be playing in the daycare room and not see another part of this at all. And then you have the separatists come in, and again, they seem, by the end of this, they seem more evil than the colonists, but we don't really see the colonists, to be fair. But just like they look like pirates, every single one of them when they show up. It's like, just come with me. It's like, no wonder these kids wanted to shoot you in the face. That also happens in this. The kid shoots an adult in the face.
She thought about it for like a singular second.
Yes.
And then the adult was like, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then
Done.
Yeah.
smacked.
Yeah. It like pretty much seems fine after that, but who knows what that's going to do to that kid when it grows up. I wonder if she'll ever reflect on that. Like, man, I killed that person. They're never going home to their family.
I almost, like thinking back when Val is trying to get the adults' bodies off the ship kind of quietly.
Yeah.
And then there was that moment where it's like, no, we need to see this. And I almost think that maybe like that desensitized her a little bit to bodies and death.
Yeah, because that's right. She said she wanted to see her mom one last time, but at the same time, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you shouldn't. And I think those moments are really strong to build up this connection between Val and the children. Like it is heartbreaking to see Val go because Victor basically takes over the ship and kind of. I love the tension, the way it builds, where it's like he's taking over. The ship is Val. That's kind of how all these AIs work, but he's locking her out of rooms and protocols. So it's like she's only in this one thing by the end of it. And then you have to see her go. And it's the kids feel it and you feel it for them. And I think the art's really strong in that, where there's panels and cuts to Isaac and Lil, like where you just see the faces on these children and how like, man, this is a bad situation for these kids. This aged them like 10 years. So
Do you think that the separatists on the ship, do you think that they messed with Victor's code in a way that Val's code was sort of not like so much messed with, but they definitely like took away some protocols so she could kind of ad lib a little more with the kids? Like, do you think Victor was
Honestly, just based off of what I read in the book, Victor seemed to be rogue on his own because the humans on his ship almost listened to him.
They take his
like
advice,
looked to him
yeah.
as a leader in a lot of the things that they did.
That's a separate story altogether.
That's what I noticed too, and it makes me wonder if that was how it happened, but that was not the intention. Where essentially maybe they unlocked his protocols to kind of let him do a little more, and he ended up basically going, "I'm better at this than you. You listen to me," and they just kind of fell in line basically. And you could see why, because even though we don't see Victor in one of these things, Val's primary body and Victor's primary body, it's the ship. And so you would think like, oh, like this is not going to be able to hurt me if I'm inside the ship. But there's all these little things that they
can control a lot of spiky arms.
yes, like
forklift-esque kind of machines.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that because even seeing the mom, Isaac's mom, the way she's killed, that's not what that was for. But it's also very good at killing because essentially in every room or almost every room, there's like a panel with some like arms that I assume are normally used to like, hey, help me pick this up and move this over. Like forklift type stuff like Andy was saying. But yeah, like left in the hands of a rogue AI or just AI with free will, this could easily murder somebody, and it does. And so it adds this sense of kind of terror, but also that's interesting because that's the thing that's supposed to take care of us. Like even that moment where she's killed Isaac's mom and she's trying to calm the kids down, there's a intentional shot of like kind of putting her hands up, but they're covered in her blood. It's like, hey, just don't cry.
Don't worry. Mommy's going to help you.
Yeah. I don't know. I love kind of, again, that contrast of that they do here with the imagery. Gabriel Walta, I don't know a ton about him or his work. He's done
so many stuff. I was going to mention that. He did all the Vision.
The Vision series,
He did the Vision 12 run series.
Like Marvel Vision?
Yeah, Marvel Vision.
Okay.
There's a 12 run series that's like,
it's
Andy,
great.
if you've never read it,
that's written by...
might be something you're next.
Guys, this is the second graphic novel I've ever read, and I was kind of joking around before we read this, like, how do you read it, left to right, top? There were some panels where, for the most part, it is like you read the left page top to bottom, and then you read the right page top to bottom. But then there were a few pages where like
you split both.
The panel like spans the
across
whole
the page,
left and right page, and I kind of caught myself at times like, wait, is this one of these pages that I have to do that with?
He's got a message written out to us. He's like,
I've read at least 62 episodes worth of comics. I still read one whole left side page and then one whole right side page and realized that like, whoopsie daisy, I was supposed to read this whole thing left to right.
That makes me feel better.
Because
it's an art.
At least with our physical copy books, this is like a bigger book than I normally get in a trade paperback.
Okay.
It's a little taller, a little wider, a little unruly to hold.
A little thicker.
And then like a stiff spine. So like you couldn't even quite crack it all the way.
He really had to work for it.
So it was,
That's what he's saying.
It was tough. It was tough to tell sometimes.
Thick and stiff.
Thick boy.
When I wanted to, like, it was hard to tell, like, when I needed to catch the left to the right or both.
Yeah.
Even when it was two separate pages, I was like, should I have done that left to right?
That was a quick conclusion to jump to. And I was like, oh, wait, no, I just skipped like
5
panels of dialogue.
Yeah, exactly.
That one's on me. Yeah, again.
But he also did the Black Hammer stuff, Gabriel Walta. Which we love.
Yes,
that's how Chris Nolan like wrote Memento. Is he just like accidentally? He's like, what if we just read a comic book backwards? And it's like it's the complete panel, but we're just going the wrong way. Spoiler, sorry.
He's innovative. Memento. That guy. He's always doing something. He's always up to something. Yeah, Gabriel Walta he worked on the Spanish translation of Black Hammer. Black Hammer is a really great ongoing series that Jeff Lemire writes. It's basically all those superheroes you recognize, but like his own versions of it. And what if they got trapped on a farm and had to think about their feelings?
And then he also it looks like he hits a lot of like a good bit of X-Men, some Magneto, and some stuff with Clive Barker. That's a little more like Clive Barker's a horror writer.
Okay.
But I guess he did some comics too.
Yeah.
So.
I think I recognize that name. Yeah.
Clive Barker, yeah, he's like what's James Patterson aged like horror writer, like he pumped out the quick ones, but in the horror genre.
Got it. Yeah, he's going for volume. Yeah, I think Gabriel Walta is a good person to pair with Jeff Lemire.
He fits his voice. I mean, when I saw Jeff Lemire on the page at first, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to see some really disgusting looking people.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that was
and
kind
like
of
some dark colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was the thing I noticed as well. Is I knew Gabriel Walta I knew Gabriel Walta drew it, but it's very reminiscent of Jeff Lemire's art. Jeff Lemire, when he started, especially, he used to do his own art. Underwater Welder, he did Sweet Tooth, and a lot of again, talking about sad faces in this, I got Sweet Tooth vibes a lot of the time. Not quite as horrific, but just like He's real good at drawing sad kids, which I think for this story is very important. But also they're happy sometimes, and I like that too. I also love the designs again of the ship and the kind of everything is just so. Everything fits, like everything's organic.
It seems pretty real. Like this is a thing that would actually happen.
Yes.
And it's not just a ship design to look pretty. It's like this is all very functional.
Yes. It's meant to do a job, and it doesn't have to look sleek or pretty. It's just get us from point A to point B, and then you have to throw the kids in all nooks and crannies of it. And again, it's just like no kid should be in most of these places that you see them in. This is very dangerous.
Like weirdly, I thought I don't know if y'all have seen the Buzz Lightyear movie that came out.
Oh yeah,
we watched that together.
Oh
you don't
yeah,
remember?
I fell asleep.
I sat right next to you, Andy.
I fell asleep for 30 minutes.
Oh, God. It was the most important day of my life.
Anyway, when we were watching it together, I couldn't help it. Here's the thing: I was locked in Snoop. This is the problem. I was like, "This is a Pixar movie for kids," but I just can't help like looking at all the detail and all the pieces of equipment, and it's like everything's very functional, and I kind of get the same vibes from this story.
Absolutely, yeah. It again, the core ideas of this and the execution are. It's all really strong. I just wish there was more of it. I wish there's more to build on the world that they set up, because while this story is very much complete, like it ends on a happy note, and you're like, I don't necessarily need more of this set after the story, but I almost want something set before it.
I think they could tell a story like almost just sort of mirrored from the perspective of Victor, and that would sort of play more into like the EarthGov versus Separatists and kind of lean more into that.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see like how he gets his rogue status with the Separatist people. That Andy brings up a pretty good little side story.
Yeah.
And that could be done.
It doesn't seem like there's any plans to go back to this.
No, it's been a few years.
Well, in the interview, that was kind of the last question that I read, and it's an interview with Gabriel, Walta, and Jeff Lemire, and it was just kind of funny because it's like, you guys want to go back to this? And the first answer is Gabriel Walta going like, absolutely, I love this, and Jeff Lemire just kind of goes, nah, I'm all right.
He's like, that's not my best work.
That's upsetting. That's like watching Harrison Ford just like shit on your favorite movie from your childhood. You're like, oh man, you're so good in this though. I loved you.
It just Jeff Lemire is just always working on something. He doesn't seem like a guy who likes to, like, once he gets his idea out, he's ready to move on to something else. And I think that is kind of what makes him so just appealing as a writer, is he does not overstay his welcome. Even Black Hammer, that's probably his longest running work. It's either just ended or coming to an end.
This is like multiverse, basically.
Yeah, and it's because he's always story, like, why am I with this specific character? What am I trying to tell you? And most of the time it's just like sad personal, like growing up life stuff, but he's so good at it. And the only thing that doesn't upset me about him not coming back to it is just because that means he's doing something else that I'll probably also really enjoy. But I really enjoyed this, and I would love to give it a rating if we're all ready for that part of our lives.
Oh God, y'all go first. I'm unprepared, even though I know that this is a part of every show.
Andy, you fall asleep to the show almost once a month.
Oh, you're right. He doesn't get to this part.
No, I'm always awake for this part.
Oh, are you?
I promise.
He falls asleep when we talk about, where we can find people and stuff like that. I understand.
Got it. That's fair. Yeah, I fall asleep during that sometimes
Yeah,
myself.
you can find people.
If you try hard enough, Andy, if you put in the effort and the
I'm
care.
not gonna lie. I don't even know if I have a specific thing that I'm thinking right now, but I can.
It's because you were too busy thinking about horny 12-year-olds earlier.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, internet.
It's all right. That makes you more relatable to the internet.
Okay, I'm ready. I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll go. I'm gonna give it 4 dead parents out of 5.
Wow. Wait, who's the 5th parent that's missing? Is it Isaac's mom?
That's my own.
Oh man, that's my mom now too, I think.
Callback from the first 2 minutes of the show.
That's a good sad callback.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. It just left me wanting more. Classic Lemire. And I say that, and it's the first thing I've read.
But in a way, it's classic Lemire, isn't it? Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. For that reason, basically saying all the same things. I'm going to turn off 4 out of 5 screens because I was just that drawn in to this story that I turned off my iPad, my laptop, my TV, my phone. But I left my computer on. I got stuff going on.
Left it on.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Jared say his, and I just want to revise my analogy But I'm gonna give him a chance. If he takes it, he takes it.
No, I'm not gonna
But,
take. I'm not gonna take
well,
anything.
You don't know. Go for it. I have another thing in mind.
I'm gonna give this using the number 3 as the letter E, because I want to see more of this in my life.
So you want more, but you want the E at the end of more to be a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's what I give this book.
That's good.
That's not to toot my own horn, but that was the least helpful rating I've ever given on this podcast.
And in a way, that's something to be impressed. Like that's something to take on. Andy, you want to revise your?
Yeah, I was
your
just
review?
gonna change. I give it an 80% of a taken over screen.
Oh, good.
Oh, there you
that's
go.
good. People
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
if they read this book.
Yeah, read this book
Read this
Read
book.
this book.
and be just not disappointed, but left wanting more as I am.
You're hungry.
Hungry.
Glad
you
you
want
were
people to be
there, but
hungry
wish
with
you
you.
could have more.
Yeah. You think you could work this in to teach your students something like a classic Boy Meets World episode?
I always leave them wanting more. Scholastically.
Excellent. Keep that up. It's clearly gotten you this far. So,
Banana, reading Sir Squares.
oh my God, Andy. Now, someone who might or might not be asleep during this part.
That was very loud in my headphones
I
right
know,
now.
right?
So if it's that loud when I'm dozing off, I will wake up for this now.
Now, imagine 61 episodes before of just that in your ears every day. And then you have to hear it again when you edit it.
You're doing the people's work, Snoop.
Yeah, I bring it down for you. This is actually
Yeah.
the first time you've experienced it as
That
is.
was full blast.
Yeah.
I got just all of Niagara Falls on that.
all up in your
Well,
ears.
normally I
Yeah.
don't get such a good interruption.
He's even behind like a little sound wall too.
He's protected.
I don't normally.
You are not.
That just protects me from Snoop, not you from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That tracks.
So, all that to be said, we're doing a segment where we talk about things that are not books. So if you're reading something, I don't want to hear about it. We're past that. We're moving on.
No more words, Andy.
And I know that hurts you as a literature teacher.
Y'all,
No more words, Andy.
I have to talk about a book I'm reading though.
No. You
I
can't.
have to.
You literally
I
cannot.
have to.
I can start a new segment. I can start a
No.
new segment after this if we really have to.
Fine. No, let's just go.
All right.
Let's just do reading for squares.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, if
reading for squares.
I'm going to
That's what
guess
it
the
is.
book. And if I guess the book, he
You
can
already-
talk about
I've been talking about it
Hold
for-
on.
Shogun chapter-
I'm trying to help you.
It's Shogun Part 2.
Yeah, it's Shogun. Talk about Shogun.
Well, no.
You've watched part of the
reading
show.
for squares is specifically not about books.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
I'm not going to talk about Shogun. I'm not going to talk about how it's broken up into 2 parts. It's like 1,200 pages total.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about how I loved the first part, how it's basically mythology, it's Game of Thrones, it's Dune, it's extremely rich world building. I'm not going to talk about any of that. I'm not going to talk about how I'm like 80% of the way through part 2.
Mm.
There was a crazy ninja attack.
You think you're not talking about it, but if there was, you would be talking about it.
There definitely was, but I'm not talking about it.
Oh, okay. Got it. Follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside of that,
Not up to a lot.
I guess not much. No,
Man, that would have been really cool if he would have talked about
it
that.
would have been like a nice moment.
People-
I would have stayed awake for that.
People
Yeah.
would have taken a lot from that. They would have been like, maybe I should go read Shogun and Shogun Part 2.
No, and
People
Andy, I
should read
understand your
Shogun.
pain a little bit though, because there's been
Yeah.
multiple times where I've been reading a book and I've been like, I would love to tell these people about this, but
Even you
it's not
talking
time
about
for that.
Yeah, I was about to say, even you talking about wanting to talk about it is kind of against the spirit of this
Yeah.
segment where we don't talk about it. So let me ask you this. Is there anything that isn't written down on a piece of paper that you would like to talk about?
I have a couple things.
Oh, lovely.
Actually, one will be really short, and then so I'll start with that one.
Okay.
Me and Bethany are going to see Fletcher and Maud Latour in concert at the end of September, and Maud Latour actually just released her newest album today,
I love that for her.
and God, it's so good. Such a lovely pop lady singer.
What's the name of said album? Do you know? Could you look it up?
God, I don't even know.
Could you give it a shout out?
Yeah,
Also, did you say Maud Latour?
Maud,
Maud.
like Maude,
Like
Maud,
And then there's Maud, yeah.
Latour.
Latour.
Like if you were like
Like if I was
Spanish,
Latouring?
if you were touring but Spanish, Latour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
but it's called Sugar Water.
Sugar, ooh, good name.
Yeah,
Good name.
it's delightful.
So it's very
There's a lot of
poppy.
pop. There's a lot of
Yeah.
pop hits. It's kind of like a mix between like real heavy like indie pop, lady pop, and then like some low like lo-fi beats mixed with some like pretty like good auto-tuned like lady singing voices.
So you get a bit of pep in your step from the pop, but then you're also just chilling
But
out with
also
the
chilling
lo-fi.
out.
Yeah.
She's like an NYU student doing her thing.
That's a nice, comfortable blend.
But
yeah.
like for the longest time, she would only like tour in the Northeast.
Thought you were gonna say in the nude.
No, not in the nude, in the Northeast.
Okay.
But
That's good too.
now she's coming to Atlanta at the Coca-Cola Roxy, and like
Got to get there.
she's the opener for Fletcher. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of hand motions.
Oh, they hear it. Don't worry.
we
pay extra for
She's
that.
the opener for Fletcher, and I wish she was the main act because I like her more.
Okay. Have you thought about maybe leaving after her, and then she would be the only performance?
No, because I also like Fletcher too.
Mm.
She's good too, but I like Maud Latour more.
Have you thought about
Bethany
going,
really likes Fletcher though, so
Have you thought about going backstage and then maybe asking if they could
if
switch?
if I could even like just give her like a high five, that would be like the best thing.
That's good too. Yeah. See,
The
see if you
best
can get
thing
one of
ever.
those
I'm
done.
definitely gonna get at least a T-shirt though.
Love.
She probably thought about those at least, so like that's kind of like giving her a high five.
Honestly, that's the only way I want to get my T-shirts these days. Just going to a concert and getting a nice, cool band T-shirt.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I already have so much clothing that in order to supplement, all I really need is like one band T-shirt every like 4 to 5 months,
It'd
and
be
then I
good.
can like toss a shirt every now and again.
Never buy a band T-shirt at the show because I'm always like, I want to try it on, but I'm too cool to try it on at the show.
I always
and
buy
then-
large.
and then so then I just don't buy it.
I think
I
I
always buy
figured it
large.
out. They seem to be whatever size you think you are.
Go
if
one
you want
size up.
well, oh really? See, I always thought they were bigger than what you would normally
No,
wear.
I have a
No, I think they
Manchester
like them
shirt.
snug.
Really?
I got a
Snug as a
Manchester
bug.
Orchestra
don't
shirt with a cat on it. Bought a small one. I was a small man.
Now you're a medium-sized
couldn't-
man.
Couldn't even hardly wear it when I could wear smalls.
Not even in your prime.
Yeah, not
That's a
even in my
shame.
prime. It was
Oh.
too tight.
So you say, so yeah, you should get a medium. If
I
you're
always
small.
go large. I
But
always
now
go
you
large.
need a large because you're a medium-sized man, and that's fine. That's natural time. Just doing
Honestly,
its
half the
thing.
time I'm a large size man these days. I don't understand it. But the other thing I watched was Marmalade with Joe Keery. It's a movie where he's kind of like a Forrest Gump character. He met a girl.
They can
and
do
she
that
made
still.
Huh?
They can do that still. Forrest Gump characters.
He's not.
He's not offensive, Forrest Gump.
He's not like actually mentally challenged. He just wasn't raised in a home that like valued education.
Oh, so he's just
He's
a bit
kind
of
of a mama's boy
Yeah.
that's a little less smart.
yeah. Okay, that's fine.
And he's in prison. That's the start of the movie. He's in prison.
Ooh.
And he's telling the story. He's telling his cellmate this story about how he met a girl and she talked him into robbing a bank. And that's all I'll say.
Oh, is it one of those things where it's like
Because
I'm
it's a
gonna
little bit of a twisty and a turny.
Is it one of those movies where it's like you're probably wondering how I got here? So let's go back a little bit.
Kind of, but he never says that. There's no fourth wall breaking.
Well, then what's the point of even doing it? You know?
Yeah,
But, no,
no,
that
but
sounds fun.
honestly, like, as far as I saw it on a TikTok of like 5 movies you should watch on streaming,
Oh,
and I was like, I'll give it a shot. Like, Bethany might like that. It's not a scary movie. She wouldn't hate that I made her start watching it and then I fall asleep. And then,
which
then
is
we-
usually what happens on Friday nights.
and then I finished the movie.
Oh, good.
So,
So you were really invested.
so it was actually like good.
yeah, nice. Okay.
I really
And
liked it. You
said
guys should
it's
watch it on Hulu.
On Hulu. Okay.
I think it. Don't quote me. It might be a Hulu original.
or if you have a Disney Plus bundle, you can watch it on there
Yeah,
via Hulu. That's
but
excellent.
good times. Joe Keery.
I like Joe
Also,
Keery.
you can also watch Shogun on
Oh man.
Hulu / Disney Plus, which I haven't watched. I was gonna finish the book first.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
could read the script for Shogun, do you think you would?
No,
All right.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
not
glad
what
you
we're
asked,
talking
though.
about.
I'm glad we got your opinion on that.
Yeah.
Just to see where you sit. I've never read a script for anything. I know
No.
you can, but like it's like, oh, the in-game script came out. And it's like, but I saw it.
yeah,
Like,
The only script I've ever read was Because the Internet. Childish Gambino wrote a script that went along with his album Because the
Oh,
Internet, and so I
yeah.
read that and listened to the songs where they popped in.
I
He didn't make a movie out of it though.
I didn't read the script, but I did watch a lot of video essays on what the 9th Star Wars movie could have been if they didn't make the one they did.
I did see that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
It's a lot better than what actually happened.
And it's one of those things that like everything sounds more interesting. It could just be a grass is greener on the other side, but also I'm like, this just sounds better than what we got. But that also being said, I just can't care about Star Wars anymore. So
It's very case by case.
yeah,
But you know what, Snoop? Not to cut you off,
no, please.
but what are you up to nowadays?
Yeah, what you watching her
What are you
playing?
not reading?
Oh, I don't.
What else are you
I
doing?
don't
You
not
watching
read
or playing
things all the
anything?
time. Am I watching? I started playing Pokemon, trying to help our friend
Which
Oh
one?
yeah,
collect Pokemon. Scarlet. It's
heard
the newest
he
Scarlet?
did.
one.
That's the newest one?
But just a vibrant Pokemon conversation in the midst of a pickleball game yesterday.
Oh yeah, we did it. Me and
Serve the ball.
hey, you're right.
Scarlet and
but
Violet?
also,
Is that the newest one?
those were the most recent ones that came
What's
out
their,
like a couple
uh,
years ago. I think.
What's their Emerald going to be?
I don't think they do those anymore
No?
because they used to.
X and Y and black and white, they don't have a...
They didn't come out with
They didn't,
Z.
they didn't
There was
come out
no
with a Z?
The Sword and Shield didn't have Pokemon Gun like we were all hoping for, but missed opportunities. Pokemon is just one of those things that I will say that they did some stuff in this new one that I thought was like, oh, like you're trying a little bit, and that's interesting. But it
I
seems
heard
like
those
for
were a
every,
little better than like what they have been doing.
I
They went a
think-
little bit better than bare bones.
I think that they did try to get out of the formula, but it seems like because
Is that a Switch one?
Yes, they've been on Switch.
I think they're
since-
all
So the-
Switch. That's all they got now.
now.
To the
Yeah,
style of like Arceus.
Ar-
Is that how those are?
it's similar. That's right, new cat. I know. I don't get it either. Why are there not enough cat Pokemon?
That was loud.
I know. He had something to say.
Persian was a bitch.
He's probably just saying.
I don't
that-
like Percy.
He's probably just saying he hasn't been fed yet.
Oh, that's
because
probably a
he's
bit
a
of
little
that.
behind schedule.
It's more fun than the previous ones I've played. I played a little bit of Sword or Shield or whatever one, and it's too easy. And I know that's a weird complaint to have.
It's baby's first JRPG.
Yeah, and
That's what it is.
it's a dumb thing to say because those games are, even to this day, primarily made for children. But I feel like that the original ones we played were challenging enough, but also, yeah, a kid could get this. I know that because I was a kid and I got it. I don't hate it. I am only doing this to help a friend collect the ones he can't get on because he has Violet,
He's
so
Violet.
he needs some from Scarlet. And once I get him everything he needs, I will stop playing it wherever that is. Even if I don't beat it, I'll just be done.
I feel like trading is so easy though now with like the onlineness of like modern Pokemon games.
It's easier than it used to be, but
Yeah, you have
because
to buy
it's
that
run
like
by
purple link cable.
yeah, you got to be in the
Circa
same room.
1998.
It's easy, but at the same time, Nintendo being behind like 5 to 8 years on every trend of gaming still hasn't figured out how to, like, there's friend codes and you got to start a lob. Like, it's not as easy as just like, oh, like join a party, invite this person to a game. You're in the game, you do it, whatever. Like,
They just did the thing where they were like, we made good stuff. We don't have to be good at technology, guys.
well, they made your nostalgia, they put in the work 20, 30 years ago, and
Yeah.
now they're just, for the most part, they coast a lot of times. They'll make like a Tears of the Kingdom, which is an amazing game, but and Andy and I have talked about this plenty of times actually. I almost wish that Nintendo had gone the way of, we need to get out of being the platform provider and just selling the IP. I feel like a lot of those franchises, while benefiting in some ways being with Nintendo, we also could have gotten something way better by now in
I don't
Pokemon
know.
specifically.
Also, like Nintendo's just the games for the children,
Yeah, they're
Maybe-
family friendly content providers. Essentially, it's like you can buy, anyone who doesn't know anything about games, parents, grandparents, whatever. It's like, I know my grandchild, son, daughter, whatever, loves video games. What can I get knowing nothing about this? Oh, it's got Nintendo on it. It'll be a safe bet.
And it's just
So-
like the same thing, like where our older family members are like, we're playing like Halo on our Xbox, and it's like, are you having fun playing on your Nintendo?
And yes, they are.
Yes, I am. Thanks, Grandma.
Andy, you're a big gamer boy. What are you up to?
Gaming wise, I'm like never on the cutting edge of anything. I'm always like in my backlog
That's
of
fine.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I just started Dishonored 2 from like 2016.
Yeah.
Because I love Arcane, played Deathloop, Dishonored 2. I've only played like a few hours, but it seems pretty good so far.
Those
And then
are
really
hard games.
outside of that, I've just kind of like been back into the well of Halo a little bit.
Yeah, get back
Just-
into Infinite.
Just a classic.
Did you
Halo
ever start
player.
playing Earthbound?
We did tease that
We
you might
did talk about
Earthbound.
like let's
Yeah.
play it together.
Yeah.
No, I have not started because I didn't know that we were actually doing it. How far are you?
No,
in-
I haven't played since we last talked about
Okay,
it. I
I'll,
made it
uh,
a good ways, but
I'll pick it up and we'll compare notes.
all right.
Yeah.
But y'all love Ness in a
Well-
sideways hat, right? Great character.
I'm not like attached.
I'm not attached to
I'm not
Ness.
I love the quirkiness of Earthbound.
It's just weird. Like I'm
Because-
just like Pokemon fighting like these random dudes.
Yeah, aliens, and it's very much like I love like watching anytime an Eastern like Japanese Chinese culture like their take on American culture is hilarious because
okay.
that's essentially what this game is. It's like weird Japan. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo makes it, and this is 80s America.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's this little boy and his friends. And it's like very like Goonies-esque.
And then
And they're like
Ah.
Comet lands and
RPG
aliens are
fighting
trying to,
aliens, like
kill.
Pokemon style. And yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
The
why
other
that
thing
kid has
that
a
I-
baseball bat.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
It's very, nothing's more American than baseball.
I actually had a
Absolutely.
yo-yo at one point
Yeah,
too.
it's-
So
Oh, I do love his yo-yo. Yeah.
Yo-yos.
God, so American. I never
the
even
other
thought
thing
about
that I-
that. Yeah.
feel really good about. Normally not a huge fan of, besides like the Pokemon, the JRPGs. They take your time into consideration, and it's like if you're like so strong that you're gonna kill this like like random encounter you run into in one like move, it doesn't make you do it. It literally is just like it does the like dun 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 dun.
Yeah. It's,
And then it's like never jumps into the fight. It's like, oh, you killed it, and you get the experience.
doesn't it say like some
Oh.
little script of like the thing was scared and ran
Yeah.
away and you just like get the experience without having to like murder this
Yeah.
whatever?
That's wild because that's a newer mechanic in that Pokemon game I'm playing now. You can send out
Yeah, and
your
that happened
lead.
back in the 80s.
Yeah, so you can send out your lead and it will, because Pokemon in these games now, you just see them. Like there's
Yeah.
no grassing. It's not like a wild encounter. Maybe
Well, that's
I'll
how it
get
is in
this.
Earthbound too.
Yeah, it just
You see everything you like fight.
Yeah, it is weird that they
So
didn't
this
make that
isn't
game more
innovative.
widely available. Like, because I think it's very good, and I played it for the first time like
Yeah.
last year.
it wasn't released in the
No,
US,
it never
right?
had an American release.
Yeah,
No.
which is that's interesting.
Or I that might be wrong actually, but had very, like, a
Earthbound
very
was-
limited American
Yeah,
release.
I think Earthbound was, but the first like game in that series wasn't. Mother.
Yeah, because Earthbound is technically Mother
the number
2,
Mother 2.
not Mother 1.
Okay,
I don't even know what Mother 1's about.
which is the one that Lucas shows up in with his pompadour.
Mother. He's gonna be an Earthbound eventually. I haven't got to that point yet.
He's my favorite.
Because they make at the very beginning of the game, they make you name like all of your
Party members
party members
Okay.
that you're gonna inevitably meet.
and have to kill.
I named the girl character Beth. I named one Steve and then one Reese. I just named them after my family members.
Who'd you name Andy?
I didn't name anybody Andy.
Wow, and
I
Reese
didn't
isn't
name
even
one.
your family member anymore.
I
So this is
did
very
name
personal.
one Char.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys were supposed to play and talk about Earthbound
Mm.
together, and
yeah,
he named
but that
all
was
of his family
before-
members
that was
after you.
before.
Wow.
The one guy looked like Reese and the one guy looked like Steve, so I just went with it.
That little block of pixels looked like your roommates.
No one in this game looks like Reese.
There was like a
That's a
brown
compliment
haired.
to
There was
Reese.
a brown haired guy. A brown haired guy.
Uh,
I think that's all we got to talk about. Are we wrapping this bad boy up?
we can, yeah, we can.
What
I
do we
can finish
normally
this
do
mule.
here?
Well, normally, Higgins, what we do is we tell our guests, thank you for showing up. So first off, thank you, Andy, for doing this with us. I know it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad we were able to sneak you in under Erin's nose. She was very upset when we told her that you were coming.
Well, here's the thing. I kind of did this under the premise that like, yeah, Aaron like really wants you to do it.
I think that's still true.
And that's not what it sounds like.
No, I mean, she did say on record, fuck that guy, but I'd like to think that, like,
As a super fan, I did hear that
yeah.
part of the episode. And can I just have a moment to respond?
The floor is yours.
I just want to say that I think she's lovely.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I think she's a close friend. And I'm always rooting for her.
You don't have any bad things to say about her.
There's nothing
Never.
bad to say about Aaron.
Yeah, you're right. She is the
So-
greatest.
I think she's great. Yeah.
That's why she's the best big boss we could ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really weird that she feels so strongly about you. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe you should talk to her. If we get her on another episode, she can respond to this, and we'll really see what her feelings are.
It might be about how disgusting Andy's toenails are. Have you seen those things?
I'm wearing shoes. Shut your mouth.
I mean, you tell the audience what you want, but I've had to stare at him this whole episode.
I mean, like, I was wondering why when Higgins went to go get that
Slander.
I was wondering why when Higgins went to go get that drink refill, he also brought you a pair of toenail clippers and just left them there. But you know, that's his prerogative, not mine. But no, thank you, Andy, for being on this episode.
No,
you
it's
had
been good.
great insights. We unfortunately didn't get down to the nitty gritty of what subject you teach, so maybe a different time.
Another time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mystery's still alive. But after that, Higgins,
You
we
can
tell people,
give us a healthy rating at your podcast listener of choice.
what's a healthy rating look like? Like you're at the gym.
I would
and
love
you're
it
like,
if you gave us 5 stars, but like
Oh, that's
tell
very
us
healthy.
how you really feel, I guess. You can give us a review on Apple Podcasts. I don't know if any of the other places do it. That's the one where we look at them.
You can leave star
We
ratings
don't have
on Spotify.
a new one yet. We have like 13 star ratings.
Oh,
a
no.
couple on Spotify.
No, we do have a new rating.
Oh yeah, Bethany did that.
No. Abby did
No,
that.
Abby did that. That's right. God, I remember that now. She told me to read it.
I'm pulling
You
it up.
want to read it?
Well, I'm pulling it up. I also got an email about available insurance quotes, so might get to
Oh,
that
okay.
during this. Just if you're out there and you got good car insurance, let me know who you're with. And who
I
are you with?
switched to State Farm.
I'm with Geico right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Geico, good
Well, that's
rates,
because
good
I
coverage.
got a nice bundling rate between my home and auto. So
Oh my gosh.
because I have home insurance too.
Wow.
Scam.
Just, flaunt your privilege there, homeowner.
Yeah, homeowner. I got in under the wire, guys.
The only thing I own has wheels.
Yeah,
And that's why I have Geico.
I barely do.
No, I own my college degrees now,
Yeah.
but I can't sleep. I mean, I guess I could like sleep under it, but that would be silly.
Yeah, little tent.
Guys, I got a
Yeah.
review that I'd love to read out to you.
Oh
Go
yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so this review is from Abby, as we mentioned, but she did a fun little thing where she said her name was Madam Catsworth. We obviously know that is Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
gave it to us in the last episode, right after we finished. Actually.
Just really, but we promised her we'd read it out. So it says
Yeah.
this podcast
Sorry,
that
Abby.
makes a difference. I will start off by saying I'm not a podcast person. That's not true. She was on a podcast. This
Oh,
one.
she just doesn't listen to him. I think that's what she's saying.
Part of the pod, part of the cast.
The thought of listening to someone else talk for hours reminds me too much of my mother-in-law. Does she have?
No.
Maybe she's talking like thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
sick burn
She-
on your mom-in-law later down the road.
She is Madam Catsworth right now in this
Yeah.
review. Yeah.
She also has this to say, though. She says, my friend recommended the soothing tunes of Snoop and Higgins' voice. I can confirm it's not mother-in-law like at all. I listened to the first episode of this podcast and my life was changed forever. I am not the same person I was before. I'm enlightened, encouraged, enhanced, and many other words that start with E. I have not even met the two men behind this beautiful work of art. Again, just lies, but they're all
Yeah.
nice words, so we'll let it go. But I am naming them the godfathers of my child. That's a responsibility I don't need.
I'll do it though.
Okay, Higgins will do it. That's how moving this podcast is. I now know that I will go on to do great things. Podcasts like these are what America is built on. So thank you,
Thank
Madam
goodness.
Catsworth / Abby.
If someone
And thank you, Charlie, for whatever that was.
doesn't listen
Oh,
to our
Paul Holmes.
podcast,
She's real needy for attention.
Yeah.
We've all been ignoring her.
Charlie, if you have an opinion, leave it on Apple Podcast reviews, okay?
yeah.
Jesus.
I was
But we're gonna get through this quick because she probably wants me to feed her because that's her I want food
Growl.
voice.
Snarl.
But you can find me on the Twitter at Mike Higgins 93 and Instagram at JSterm 93.
Charlie, come here. Tell me about it while he does that. Or go ahead.
And you can find Snoop at Instagram Snoop_Lynch. And you can shoot us an email. We would love to hear anything you guys want to say to us. Give us a new book. Give us all your thoughts. Tell Charlie that she's
She
doing
can
a
eat
great
later.
job.
Yeah, she's doing great, though. You said emails. Where can people email us? Did you
They can
mention
do that at the Comixology Club at 0-0-8studios.com.
It's true, they can.
And I did it in one.
Got dogs out of
That's why
control.
Charlie did that one.
Yeah. She said,
I don't think we have anything. I'm gonna feed my dog. Snoop, do you want to send him off?
I will. We're gonna do an episode.
Oh
next
yeah, we gotta talk about our next episode.
So we're gonna do an episode next month. Michael and I are still kind of hashing out details and guests, but we will be back for
Reese, right?
No, that's November.
Okay, sorry.
A lot of guests. One thing I can say though for sure is
what's the next month?
September is the next month.
Is that the one with him?
No, that's November.
No, I mean with Andy. Andy's episode.
No, Andy's coming out
September.
this month. He'll be here right
August?
now. Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing I can say for sure is that in September, we're gonna get a special guest back. One Soulstar sketching.
Oh yeah,
sketching
a big game
and a big
going
game
off script a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We're gonna review Beetlejuice. We were talking about doing something a little different, and he likes Beetlejuice, so we're gonna talk about the sequel.
Say that one more time, because I don't want that in my house.
You don't want Michael Keaton in your house?
Not right now. It's disgusting.
Oh, you want to clean up for him first?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait to say that last word then. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that for sure, and then we will also be back with another guest with a different book, and we'll talk that then.
Do we have that? Do we know who that is?
No, that's why I'm saying the things I'm saying right now.
Okay, I thought we had somebody.
No. I mean, we have each other.
I
So
could have
that's
sworn we had
important.
the full list, but
Nah.
that's on my bad.
September's our one blind spot. It's all right. But we will be back. So join us there for us. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you again, Andy, for being here. Thank you, New Cat and Charlie, for making sounds during this podcast. Real great stuff. Yeah, there she is. That's good.
That was me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. You sound very aggressive. I thought you had a good time. But until we see each other again, I will say cheers, guys. That's what I say. Andy, you should say something. Say bye.
Oh, what else do you say normally? What should I do? I need to do anything
Oh yeah.
before the next episode?
Well, Higgins, I will tell you to get that egg in you.
All right, thank goodness.
Oh God, I'm not prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye.
Andy hasn't seen you get that egg in you yet.
Goodbye. Class dismissed.
Very good. All right, Higgins. Now
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
That's what you want to say, but you're not brave enough to say to your kids. And that's fine. Kids are scary. You see the kids in this? Absolute freaks. Just murdering people. Higgins, what would you like to say?
I'm just gotta get my robot voice again. I don't have a robot voice, guys.
Sound like your sex voice.
You had it, but you lost it.
It kind of just turns into Christopher Walken.
That is most voices he
Don't
does.
worry, kids.
Now you sound like John Wayne.
Daddy's home.
That's fine.
I'm your daddy now.